Okay, everybody. Good evening, everybody. Today I'm going to continue passive voice for the 11th grade, Unit 10. So last time we were speaking about present simple in active and passive, and today we are going to have another tense past simple in active first and then in passive, so we can differentiate between passive and active. Past simple. What I mean by past simple? Past simple, it is a tense used to indicate to an action that happened in the past and end up. It means that this action happened in the past and end up. Okay, the rule of the present, the past simple is subject plus verb 2. I should change the verb, the infinitive between the brackets, into verb 2. The key words for the present simple are yesterday, this is the rule, of course, the rule, subject plus past, or verb in the past, it means verb 2. Okay, the key words are yesterday, the day before, ago, one day, one night, etc., one plus time. Last plus time, just like last week, last month, last day, etc. Previous plus time, just like previous week, previous year, etc. Early plus time, just like early today, or just like early this week, early this month. All of the early plus anytime means that this is a keyword for the past. This morning, any year before 2020, any year in the past, just like 2010, just like 1990, etc. Okay, now we are going to continue our lesson and take some exercises to do these exercises. First, Salma and Al-Quds University 2 years ago. We have here 2 years ago. 2 years ago, it is just time in the past, so we should use past simple with study, means studied. Okay, the students to school this morning. This morning, one of the keywords of the past simple, so we should use past simple of go, means when. The students went to school this morning. The boys' football yesterday. I have a time yesterday, it means in the past, so I should use it in the past. The past of play, the past simple of play, played. My grandfather, last week. Last week, also, it indicates that this action happened in the past, so I'm going to use the past simple of visited. The boy, the window yesterday. I have yesterday. Also, it is something in the past, so I'm going to use the past simple of break, broke. The boy broke the window yesterday. My university in 2010. The verb is finish. I already finished my university. The past simple of finish, finished. I finished the verb 2 of the finish. The students their exam last Sunday. Last Sunday means that something happened in the past. What is the past will do? Of course, did. The students did their exam last Sunday. Here we have another example about P, but you should take care for this noun. Always if we use P in the past of P is was and were. Was for the singular, and were for the plural. Here I have she, the subject. So I'm going to use the singular of be, was in the past. Again, the past of be, if I want the past simple of be, the past simple of be is was and were, was for the singular and were for the plural. Okay, we are going to continue about speaking about the question and the negative. First, we will start with the negative. If I have past simple, how can I negate the past simple? We can negate the past simple by using didn't plus infinitive. Didn't plus the infinitive. I don't use verb to here at all because I have didn't, so I should use after didn't the infinitive. Just like Ali to Ramallah last year, I have. Last year means something happened in the past. Not go, it means didn't go. Didn't plus the infinitive go as it is. Here, didn't plus the infinitive. We, our home, the last class. Last class, although something happened in the past, not do means didn't do. We didn't do our homework last class. This is the rule of the negative of the past simple, and right now we are going to speak about the question for the past simple. Of course, the rule is WH, sometimes the question is WH, sometimes no. So WH is not always existed in the question. So after it, did plus subject and then the infinitive. Did, subject plus the infinitive. The first question, what space she yesterday? Here I have a past or a time in the past, so I should use the past simple. The past simple in the question, did plus infinitive. What did she watch? The infinitive as it is. Number two, they in the previous week. I should use did, as I told you before. Did they, but I should use it capital letter here because it is at the beginning of the sentence. Did they go in the previous week? Now, gentlemen, we finished present simple. Sorry, I'm so sorry. The past simple and inactive. So I'm going to speak about the past simple in passive. How can we change the sentence into passive, but after this? Past simple and passive. First of all, as I told you before, passive, or the passive sentence, is the sentence that we don't know the doer of the action, but this is in the past. So the rule will be, is going to be object first. We start with the object, then was and where. Of course, was for the singular with he, she, it. Always we use it for the singular. And after was and where, we use PP. And then the rule in the passive, if I want to change the sentence into passive, object plus was and where, and then verb 3 or PP. Okay. But we should take care of this note. Gentlemen, no one, nobody, anyone, anybody, no one, nobody, anyone, anybody, somebody, someone, everyone, everybody are considered singular. All of these words considered just like singular. Moreover, uncountable nouns, just like water and coffee, money, etc. All of these words considered in uncountable nouns, we consider it just like a singular noun. Now we want to change these sentences into passive. Okay. The first sentence, change these sentences into passive. As I told you before, we should first divide the sentence. She is the subject. Sang, verb 2. This is how I know that this is in the past. If I have verb 2, a song, object. Who can do it? A song. We want to follow the rule. First, object, as I told you before, then was and were, and then the past participle. Type. She sang a song. A song, was or were. We use was because it is singular. Was sung. Verb 3 of sang by her. That's it. Somebody hit me. Somebody hit me. Somebody is the subject. Hit is the verb. Me, object. When I want to change me to the subject here out of the beginning of the sentence, we start with I. I instead of me because we change it from object to subject. I was, of course, was or were. We use was because I almost always take was and then hit, verb 3 of hit, just like it is, by somebody. I was hit by somebody. Okay. We stopped the bus. We, subject, stopped, verb, the bus, object. We start with the object always. The bus. Then was or were. We use was for the bus because it is singular. The bus was stopped. Verb 3 of stop, stopped, stop. Sorry. Stopped by us. By us. Okay. A thief stole my car. A thief is the subject here. Stole. Verb, my car, object. We start with the object always. My car was or were. We use was because it is singular. Was stolen by a thief. Now, gentlemen, if we have a negative sentence in the passive, how can we change the negative sentences in passive? First of all, in negative for the past simple, of course. Have for the past simple. Negative for the past simple. The rule is object and then wasn't or weren't plus PP or verb 3. Okay, I'm going to start to divide the sentence just like the first sentences. They is the subject, didn't let it the verb, can object, etc. We start, they didn't let him go. He, again, gentlemen, if we have an objective pronoun at the end just like him, we will change it into subject pronoun. This is an objective pronoun, just like me in the previous example. We change it into I. So always we change the objective pronouns to subjective pronouns if we want to change the sentence from passive to active and object. He, of course, we use wasn't for he because it is singular. He wasn't. Let to go. The next one, she didn't win the prize. She didn't win the prize. Here, she is the subject. didn't, when, the verb, the prizes, the object. We start with the object, the prize. Here is a capital letter here. The prize, sorry. The prize. Of course, we use for the prize wasn't because it is singular. Wasn't. When, won. The verb 3 of when is won. We change it to the verb 3. Wasn't won by him. Next, they didn't make their beds. They subject. Didn't make the verb their beds, the object. We change it into passive by starting with the object first. Their beds. Here we use are because it is, where, because it is a plural noun, so we use where. Their beds were made by them. Okay. Next, I did not tell them. I is the subject, did not is the verb with tell, did not tell, them as the object. We start with the object, and as I told you, this is an objective pronoun. We change it into subjective pronoun, they. They, instead, they are plural, so we use weren't. They weren't. Tell, told. They weren't told by me. Okay, this is the negative and passive for the past simple. And right now, we are going to have the question and the passive for the past simple. If I have a question, how can I change the sentences into these questions into passive if they are in the past simple? The first question, the rule is gonna be WH sometimes and sometimes without WH. Then was and where. After was and where, the object, not the subject. Take care of this. And then PP. We start, where is the object? Did you tell them? Them are the object. Okay, we start with was or where. We use where for them because they are plural. Where? They. As I told you, we change them from object pronoun to subject pronoun. They, them, we repeat it to they. Where they tell told. Were they told by you or question mark? Or I can, were they told by you question mark? Did he send the letter? Here, he is the subject. Send and there is the verb. The letter is the object. We start with the object. The letter. Of course, we use was because it is singular. The letter was. Was the letter. Was the letter is a question, so we start always with was or where. Was the letter sent by him, question mark, or without by him as you want. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening. See you next time.